There have been a lot of different Cars mobile games over the last 10 years. Probably the most despised and most hated one, the Cars Daredevil Garage app. The app really isn't that bad, and it's actually pretty cool that you can incorporate the diecast into it and kind of have a little bit of synergy between what you buy at the stores and also what you have on your phone. But the problem with it, and the reason why everyone hated it, is because the advertising took up so much of the space on the packages during that time. So everyone absolutely adored the other mobile game, being Cars Fast as Lightning, which now unfortunately has been discontinued some years ago, but it still holds a lot of passion and interest to this day through all of the paint jobs it brought and even new characters such as Pyotr Racinov, who we'll be reviewing today. This is an incredible custom by Shane Cooper, who, if you remember from last year around the same time, he did a bunch of video game customs as well, such as Party Time Wingo from the game, and same with Ranger Sheriff. These are some of my favorite customs in my possession, especially Wingo. I mean, come on, that's a pink Wingo. You literally can't go wrong with that. And so, to start off this year, there will also be a slew of reviews from Shane Cooper's customs. You can maybe or maybe not see some of the upcoming ones in the background, which actually aren't video game customs, but most of them will be from Cars Fast as Lightning. And I don't know why I wanted to start with this one. I just did. It just felt right. And we're going to just dive right in. I'm going to toss a couple images from the game on the screen there. I believe he takes like 275 gems to unlock him or something like that. I never unlocked him because gems were super hard to come by. I mean, not only, that's an absurd amount of gems, but also you couldn't just race and race and race. You couldn't just grind on the game for like 5 hours because you'd run out of gas to do the races. And of course, you can get more gas with gems or, in-app purchases, which I never did. I don't really do that stuff. There's also an ice racer version of him in the game that is one of the paint jobs. I think it might be the only one. But yeah, they made this character specifically for the game. And in fact, I think he might be the only character that is pretty much exclusive to the game. You have Snot Rod, Todd Marcus, Carlo Veloso, all that stuff. But this guy is truly a Cars Fast as Lightning character. He was birthed out of that app, and he's a Russian World Grand Prix racer technically. You kind of think of him in the same light as those super chases from 2012, Longue, Frosty from Australia, Memo Rojas from Mexico, Longue was from China, of course Fernando Alonso, who they never did, from Spain, Flash from Sweden, and then of course, wasn't Vitaly Petrov a Russian racer as well? So then you ask the question, why did they not just put Vitaly Petrov in the game, who they already had done? They already animated him, they already had his design. Mattel had already released an ice racer version of him. He had been released multiple times from the Disney store in ice, metallic, and regular. So why not just put him in the game, right? Why create a whole new character? Why to go to that length? And I think the answer is pretty simple. It's because Vitaly Petrov is based on a real life racer, just as all of these other cars are. Jan Flash Nilsson is the inspiration of Flash. Obviously, Mark Frosty Winterbottom for Frosty. Fernando Alonso is literally the exact same name of a very famous F1 driver. So they don't want to use the likeness of a real person and have to pay those extra royalties. So they're like, let's just come up with our own racer. Now, why they chose Russia still mind boggles me to this day. Nothing against Russia. We're not going to get political here today. But out of all the countries you could have chosen, why Russia? Like maybe because you wanted to incorporate that like ice track in the game. I don't know. Because obviously when they released the ice racers, they released Vitaly because the race took place in Russia and he was the host of it. I don't know. I really have no idea why they chose Russia, but that is why they didn't choose Vitaly. Now you look at these two racers, and I've always thought of them as looking quite different. But now that we have them side by side, it is kind of a lazy rearrangement of Vitaly Petrov and kind of a downgrade almost. So the Russian flag is literally just blue, red, and white stripes. Pretty simple. Not going back to the Soviet Union flag or anything like that. Both racers have red, white, and blue in the exact same spots, just kind of rearranged and proportioned out a little differently. You know, this red section goes back further than the blue section does here on the front of Pyoter. But they are the same colors. Vitaly has the inclusion of the coat of arms, which is a carification. You know, you have the wrenches right there, which in real life, that's eagles, and there's like a horse in the middle and all that stuff. And then this, you just have like the Russian star on the center. So yeah, I mean, whatever. Cool, I guess, but definitely one of the, you know, lazier character designs, especially because they were fully aware of the existence of Vitaly. It's not a coincidence that he looks like this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yeah, we have Vitaly in mind. Let's make a Russian racer, but make a new character kind of similar. I don't know. You know, in canon, we could all assume that they're competitors, very tough rivals back in Russia. But all of that out of the way, now finally on to the custom itself. By the way, we're using a lot of new technology in this video. This is the first video. I'm not sure when this will come out, but this is the first time I am using not one, but two new pieces of technology. Of course, you might have seen the tidbit in the background there, and also I have this really cool lamp that maybe I'll show you one day that is giving this a great new lighting. But I like the expression that Shane Cooper implemented here. Obviously, he used a Max Schnell for this diecast because they're all the same model. And the expression just looks pure. He's got brown eyes, and those eyes just look really real to me. They have a little bit of depth, a little shadow to them, whereas Max's are very just flat on the paint right there. The star looks good. Now, all the decals that you see on these customs from Shane Cooper that are video game customs, you know, whether it be the Hot Rod Francesco Bernoulli that I did last year, I mean, those flames he had to make. When you see me review something else in the future, you'll know that those decals were not just, oh, hey, let's just go to Google Images and download them. Yay! No, Shane Cooper had to probably painstakingly make those. This one, maybe not as painstaking as some of the others that you'll see, which is literally like a freaking tractor dragon. I can't contain myself with that. If you know what that is, comment below. Tractor dragon, that's all I'll say. This is just a star, but it still looks really good, and it's 100% accurate to him in the game. This is a Thailand version of Max Schnell. I will get that out of the way. I like the gray wheels right here because it looks a little bit more accurate than the silver wheels that the Chinese Max Schnell that I have here would have carried along. He is number 14. It doesn't say obviously World Grand Prix or all in all or anything like that. It's a pretty simple just box with 14 in it. But again, that is 100% accurate to how he looks in the video game. Now, 14, I believe, is the number of one of the other racers. I think it may be Frosty, because these other racers, Vitaly, Flash, whatever included, they were given numbers when they released as ice racers. So, you know, whether that be, you know, Mattel's version of Vitaly and Frosty or the Disney store doing Flash, Memo, and Longue, because on their regular, normal Super Chase versions, they do not have any numbers or all-in-all decals or anything of the sort. But that is what the Disney store is good for. Ice racer versions of Flash, Longue, and Memo. That is literally some of the best Disney store stuff right there. He does have the star on his back bumper as well. The spoiler is blue, which looks really good. I'm a big fan. I mean, the fact that Shane Cooper just perfectly painted that plastic piece. I mean, everything just looks so seamless here. I mean, you have 3 patches of decals, or paint rather, of colors, and it all looks phenomenal. The back window here, now the windows are not separate pieces, so he had to do those as well. It's not like with, actually, yeah, the Max Schnell model has always been that way, but you guys know what I mean with, for example, Sheriff is a good example where the window pieces are part of the interior, so you didn't have to worry about those. You just had to reassemble the car, and bam, the interior, the windows are there. Same thing with the taillights and the headlights. Those are decals that he applied. And this really is just a gorgeous custom all around, even though there's not, you know, a ton of decals to look at and inspect. it is perfectly accurate, which is what I really go for. You know, sometimes I'm like, yeah, take some creative liberties. That's totally fine as well. But when you have sufficient material to go off of, it's not like we have blurry images or anything, then yeah, accuracy is very important to me. Especially, you know, when I do reviews of stuff like Nico Hülkenberg. I mean, that is, you know, a yellow Citroen van from the Cars movie. And the reason that we're making it is because it appears in the movie. And so I want it to look like how it appeared in the movie. Same thing here with Pyoter from the video game. And yeah, I guess we could just do a quick comparison here with Vitaly. Vitaly is probably, see, some of these racers that they base the super chases on, they were not, unfortunately, like, they're not all in the same level of prominence. Now, I'm not, you know, knocking them or anything like this, but Fernando Alonso is by far, I mean, I would say so. Maybe you could disagree. That's perfectly cool. If you're from Mexico and you know Memo Rojas, cool. But Fernando Alonso is world renowned through his success in Formula One, whereas some of these other ones, not as much. Now, we all also, I mean, not sure if you guys know this, but there are many other versions of Cars 2, you know, from Brazil or Germany or wherever, where they slot in other characters, you know, like Max Schnell, who is actually Sebastian Vettel, another F1 driver. And that's the German version of Cars 2. He's also pretty popular, but again, he just hasn't had the amount of success that Fernando Alonso has had. Like Vitaly Petrov, I never heard of him until Cars 2. I had heard of Fernando Alonso and continue to hear about him. I have never really heard about Mark Winterbottom or Jan Nielsen. I think Jan did make it into Formula One, but again, Fernando is just the big dog when it comes to characters like these. But yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comment section below, do you prefer Vitaly or Pyoter? This really isn't, you know, based on the merit of the custom here, but more so just the design in general. You know, just take the Pyoter from the video game and Vitaly from the Russian version of Cars 2, and, you know, the other places he appeared. I have to say, I am really proud of Mattel and the Disney Store for taking these characters that Pixar put in other versions of the movie to, you know, localize them and make the audience relate to them more. They take those characters and they continue their legacy on through Ice Racers, through Neon. You know, they did Frosty a ton of times. And it honestly would have been sick. Just imagine this, if they released these other super chases, you know, Ice, Neon, Carbon, whatever it was, in those respective countries as those series came out. Now, obviously, it's just not realistic. For Australia, yeah, they can produce a certain amount of silver Frosties, only release them in Australia, still turn a profit, but make a silver Flash, only release it in Sweden. Is that profitable? I'm not so sure about that. Just how the world is made up. But thank you guys so much for watching this video on Pyotr Racinov. Cool name. Pyotr is actually a pretty common Russian name from what I understand, but obviously Racinov is a carified name. By the way, this Fernando Alonso is a custom by Jim Scavenger. Hopefully I'll leave that link in the description below. But yeah, I'm a huge fan. By the way, my favorite is going to be, sorry, Pyoter, it's Vitaly. I mean, Vitaly has this cool carified coat of arms, which definitely took some effort to make, whereas Pyoter just has the star. So that is my answer. You guys let me know in the comment section below. This is the sexiest custom I could start 2023 off with. I'll see you guys soon for another video. Bye now.